Going to talk about rifle scopes. Rifle scopes to do with dialing your range. Rifle scopes to do with reticle systems. Rifle scopes to do with first focal plane reticles or second focal plane reticles. The past several years, manufacturers are making scopes with first focal plane reticles. Not that rifle scopes haven't been made before with first focal plane reticles, they have. 50, 60 years ago or more, there were scopes being made with first focal plane reticles. Not range reticles, just simple reticles that were first focal plane reticles. Bushnell. Not Bushnell, but Bosch and Lomb. It was bought out by Bushnell. Bosch and Lomb made their 2.5 date Valvar 8 and 8A with a first focal plane reticle. It had a tapered crosshair, tapered thick from the edges to fine in the center. And when you turn the power down, the reticle got finer. When you turn the power up, the reticle got heavier. That's basically one of our very first focal plane reticle type of scopes and variable power. And I have touched slightly before on reticles and scopes with first focal plane, but today I'm going to talk about this just a little bit further. I have mentioned before that irregardless of who made the scope, these first focal plane reticles, the actual reticle system is only really very valuable to you on the top half of the power range. In other words, if you've got a 4 to 16, you probably got to turn it up to 8 power or higher to be able to see that reticle very well, because the reticle is so fine at the lower power. It's hard to see. Now, I discovered here just as of lately that there's an outfit making a scope that doesn't apply like it does with a lot of first focal plane reticle scopes. This is a new scope on the market. It's put out by an outfit called Swamp Fox, and they make a scope. This is one of their scopes here. This is a scope they call the Patriot. This is a 6 to 24 power scope, and I have mounted this on a rifle here for an individual and bore sighted it and so forth. And I have studied this scope extensively on the range, at distances, at all powers, and this is probably the most useful first focal plane reticle scope that I have seen from anybody, irregardless of who made it. This particular scope is available also in a 4 to 16. They're available with 2 different reticle systems. The reticle system that is less complicated is the reticle system to have, I think. The reticle system, you can see these divisions on the reticle at various powers, even down there at 6 power, 7 power, 8 power. The low end, you can see still very, very well. The scope is just as clear as can be. It's just tremendously clear. You can see very well with it. I have zoomed the scope to all powers. And of course, as has been stated to everybody before, the first focal plane scope, the first focal plane means that reticle is up here in the scope. second focal plane, your reticle is back here in the scope. So when you zoom your power, the actual subtension of the reticle, that means the hash marks or whatever that there is built into the reticle of the scope, they're etched right into the glass. These reticles are indestructible because they're etched into glass. You can zoom the power up, you can zoom the power down, so irregardless of where you find the power that your scope is set on, you can use it without making any type of adjustments or corrections or anything, because the reticle subtension stays exactly the same. All those spacings in the reticle never ever change with the actual power. They stay the same. This scope is not way up in the thousands and thousands of dollars that people seem to think that they have to have this sort of stuff. It doesn't work. This scope works. This scope has been thought out, and whatever that they've done, they have taken a lot of the problems and taken them away from this first focal plane reticle system that is normally in that type of a system. You can see at all powers on your target. It's not as easy to see at the lower power. What I mean, at 6 power as it is at 8, you'd be better shooting at 8. You can see just a little bit better. I've got extremely good eyes for an older fella. I've always had good eyes. I don't wear glasses. I wear 1.25 power nose glasses, to do my gun work, detail, and one thing another. But I've got extremely good eyes, and I know quality glass when I see it. And this glass and these scopes is very, very good. The reticle is just as sharp as can be at all powers. And of course, as you turn it up, the reticle gets coarser and coarser and coarser. I don't see any need whatsoever on a hunting rifle to have a scope with this real high power. I think a 4 to 16 is entirely all that that you would need. Now, go to their site, SwapFox. They've got several different scopes that they make in the Patriot series. They're very reasonably priced, and almost anybody that's needing a scope could afford to buy one of these scopes. My understanding is people that have been, in the military and one thing or another, various people have put their heads together and got somebody to make these scopes, and somebody's figured a few of these things out, you see. But I might state that you wouldn't be bad off having this higher power, the 6 to 24 power scope. You just don't need that much power. A hunting rifle, you could use it down an 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 power. You can turn it up to look at something at a distance, but I wouldn't want my scope set on real high power in a hunting situation. I'd have it turned down probably around 8 power or something like that, in the field, and I would turn it up if I thought I needed to. But you can really, really see. But reticle systems are trouble-free systems. If you do your part, you do the math necessary according to the trajectory of the loads that you're using. But you must shoot at all distances with whatever system that you have, whether it's a reticle system such as these first focal plane scopes with the systems that they've got in them, or whatever it might happen to be, or whether you've got a scope with a custom dial. You see, this scope has a parallax adjustment on it. Everything seems to work very, very well. And never take anything for granted. You can go to ballistics information and see what it is for your particular loads and so forth. But if you're going to go to the field and if you're going to hunt game, you need to shoot at target at all the distances that you think that you're going to encounter in the hunting field. Never go to the hunting field with a rifle that has not been shot at distance. Don't go to a shop, pick up a rifle that's got, whatever the system is, whether it's a custom dial or whether it's a reticle system in the scope, and think that you're going to go to the field just after you've looked at ballistics tables or somebody has given you this information or provided it for you. You must do the work yourself. Do not go to the game field and target practice on our beautiful wildlife that's disappearing all across the country because of disrespect for the animal. The first thing you need to do is respect the animal. You never target practice on animals. If you're going to shoot at an animal, I don't care what it is, you need to know your rifle. You need to know where it shoots at whatever distances, and if you don't know, you don't need to be shooting. So I think this has brought us a bit further with this particular rifle scope put out by Swamp Fox. I'm not being paid by Swamp Fox to push Swamp Fox. I'm just talking about a product that I've had my hands on, that I have looked at, I've studied it, I've sat here at the bench, I've looked at clear out to 850 yards with this scope in all sorts of situations off my sandbags on the bench here, and studied it to see if it works, if it's something that I would use, that I would recommend, that I would suggest. And I just simply am telling you about this particular situation, this product. As I say, go to the site and see. Look up these scopes, and you'll be pleasantly surprised to see what you can buy these scopes for. Very reasonably priced, which is hard to find in this day and age, with labor what it is, with cost what it is, and everything else. So, you like what you hear, go to their site and see what what might happen to suit you. But as I say, they make them 4-16, and plus this higher power. You see, they're very well finished. They look tremendously good. They've all got 30 millimeter tubes. This has got a 50 millimeter objective, and it's got a decent eye relief. Everything's well thought out, and it comes with flip open scope caps, which is kind of nice. Even some of these $3,000-$4,000 scopes don't even come with a scope cap to protect your lenses, which is a pity. So there you are. That's what I have found, the latest, build of first focal plane scopes.